Hi everybody, this is a requested reading on Adam Schiff. Could he be a contender in 2020 for the presidency? And to be honest, I hadn't given him much of a thought. So I had a little look, a bit more on his background. I knew he was on the Senate Intelligence Committee. But he seems very decent. He wants to make sure that a president can't just order airstrikes because he's having a bad day. And that it has to go through Congress, which used to be the convention. He also wants to get bipartisan legislation to save an environmental corridor in Santa Monica or something. What else has he done? I wrote it down here. Oh, more importantly, he wants to introduce legislation to find out what is the executive expenditure on Trump properties, because people are just paying millions of dollars into Trump's companies just to get into his good favour. And so that's possibly a really important thing if he can get it up. So let's see what's happening with Adam Schiff and whether he's got a chance for 2020, whether he wants to do it. What about the possibilities? Oops. So, Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff. Let's see. Anything would be an improvement, you would think, outside of Pence, of course, who would not be an improvement. So, Adam Schiff. Alrighty. So I'm glad you've all found Dave the channeler now. We'll be doing more work soon. We have plans. I'm trying to get my other guests on board as well. Okay, so concentrate, Lena. Okay, the first four cards of his Celtic cross. So he has the Eight of Pentacles as his main card, the Apprentice card. He works very hard, and essentially in this position, he's done his apprenticeship. He's 57 or something. But I have a feeling from this, he's thinking about going higher in the food chain, in which case he's becoming an apprentice again to maybe the big job. But well trained and hard working. At the core of the reading, the offer. I'll stick my neck out here and say the offer will be made to him. But I don't know that he's really into it. This card suggests, tempting as it is, he's unsure. It's not news to him. He's been thinking about it. So underneath at the root of the reading, he's battling. He's in between battles. My feel on this is that he's battling the Republicans. He is battling the madness of this presidency, but I think also other Democrats who want to do things in a particular way, whether that's take the Democrats more to the left or whether staying with those Democrats who live in corporate land along with the Republicans. There's a lot of things that are battling here. So I think it's all those things as opposed to just the Republicans. Short term, he's biding his time. He has the Temperance card, and that's about balancing things. You see the water going from one cup to another. He's weighing things up. He's a very sensible and measured person. He, in fact, couldn't be more different than POTUS. So if we're looking for contrast, he could be a good candidate. So, in his more recent past, what do we have? They have the Ace of Wands. So, the energy of the Ace, the Fred Flintstone card, as I call it. So, in the recent past, he has been dealing with the blunt instrument that is the current Republican Party. When you've got a Republican lawmaker saying that sea levels are rising because of rocks falling off cliffs and into the ocean, it's symbolic of the sort of rubbish that you have to deal with, as well as very serious issues in the economy. So he's been dealing with the blunt instrument. Over his reading, we have celebration. Interesting. So, a little bit further out for him, the manipulator or the juggler, in his case, because I think of him as a decent man, I don't think of him as a Machiavellian person who's into intrigue. So rather than manipulate, I would say juggle. And that goes well because it's absolutely beside the Temperance card. So he's juggling the information, he's juggling the opportunities, he's making do by doing the dance for now for the Democrats. How does he see himself? Oh, that's not good, Adam. He sees himself as isolated and out in the cold. This, to me, relates to the blunt instrument. It also relates to feeling embattled. I think as a thinking human being, but also a flexible person who wants bipartisan things to move forward. In other words, he's not a Democrat ideologue. He wants to make things right. That's what's isolating him within the party, is he's not towing the Democratic Party line. Right. So at the moment, he's working hard behind the scenes. He's juggling it all, but he's not feeling the love. Right. And this could be, because it's directly on top of why he wouldn't want to go there, he knows it would be a lot more battles from his own party. So no, he's not that enthusiastic. What's acting across that? The Fool. So to a certain extent, if he was sitting opposite me and I was doing a personal reading for him, this would be a warning card that it would not be in his best interest to go for the big job. So let's see what else comes up. That's interesting because the first lot of cards were all, he's really good for the job, but his personal cards, would it be good for him, are telling a completely different story. So the environment and the atmosphere he's working under is Trump Tower and the collapse. Now, I could just shut up there, but that's not my forte. So, yes, the atmosphere is catastrophic and dramatic and all of that. But again, I'm wondering if he's feeling that, being out in the cold, if he's feeling that as much from the Democrats behaving badly, the Democrats imploding as much as Trump and the Republicans exploding. So that is a very potent card to have in the atmosphere. That's the atmosphere he's working and living in. His short-term outcome, King of Cups. This is because we're dealing with a sane person. That's a novelty. I'm giving it the more benevolent interpretation of the King of Cups. He understands on a deep emotional level what is happening and what needs to happen. And I think that's one of the reasons, it's beside the embattled card, that he feels so embattled. He doesn't feel the other Democrats, I'm talking senior Democrat players, the other ones coming through, it's a different story, but the old guard, he doesn't feel they quite have that emotional understanding of the electorate, and I think he does. So he could play a role there. Further out, Page of Cups. So we're getting the emotional cards now, the cups. The Page of Cups, again, is an opportunity. Right. Now, excuse me, because... Oh, it must be that huge Lebanese breakfast I just had. Because this is usually a younger person, it could be an opportunity for him to mentor someone younger than himself. I think he's a good age for the presidency. I think late 50s, early 60s is a good age. It might represent him, but I don't think so. I think this is a younger person. It could even be his own kids. I don't know the story. Has he got adult kids? Because they could be informing his emotional reality of why he understands it, or he could be mentoring, as the King of Cups, the Page of Cups, which is my favoured interpretation. He's the king grooming the page. So I wouldn't be surprised to see down the road people say, Adam Schiff run in 2020, and he says, well, maybe not me, what about so-and-so? Further out, judgment. So he has to make a judgment call. Is he going to do it or not? So I'm going to do just a little mini reading to finish off here. Will he actually agree to do it? So let's see what turns up with a shorter, more specific look here. Just give me a moment. So, while I am shuffling the cards, I just want to take this opportunity to say, as always, thanks for your comments, thanks for the links that you send, and especially thanks for the donations. I am extremely grateful for any donations, so thank you so much for that. So let's see what is happening here. You're welcome to request readings, of course, but try and keep them within this theme, because this is where the viewership is interested. So in other words, people sometimes ask me to read on Australian issues, like the hideous Cardinal Pell, who's our senior Catholic, who presided over the moving of pedophiles for 40 years. I'd like to, and I might even do that particular one, but basically, let's face it, the world isn't that riveted by what's happening in Australia. Oops. So, will Schiff actually run? Will Adam Schiff run? Will Adam Schiff run in 2020? Okay. Okay, his first card, the Nine of Cups, hopes and wishes fulfilled, emotional fulfillment. Right, so I'm just quickly looking at these other three cards. What I think that means is he's actually emotionally fulfilled with what he's doing, as opposed to taking the next step. he has got the chariot momentum, and I thought, well, maybe that means that he has been actually lusting after the presidency and he's going to run, but I'm not that convinced. He has the Lovers card here, and that might well be his wife. She could be either totally for him becoming president or totally against. I think she'll have a big say in whether he accepts it or not. However, he knows and she knows if he does, there's more of that conflict. In his case, I think this is an internal conflict about that decision. So we haven't got an answer. Let's see if we can go further. All right. He gets the Magician, transformation. So that's sort of taking the reading a bit more towards transforming himself into that other role. Then his outcome card, King of Wands, is a very powerful position. It's suggesting here that should he decide to go for it, he could get at least the nomination, if not the presidency. He could get it. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's conflicted. He's a bit worried he might get it. So that's how I see Adam Schiff. I think he is a player. I think more people will use his name and suggest him and put him forward. I think he is patriotic enough to want to do it for those sort of reasons, but he knows it's a bit of a nightmare. And post-Trump, it'd be even worse. Imagine becoming president after Trump as a Democrat and trying to put America back together again. I mean, what a fucking nightmare that would be. All right, so that's how I see Adam Schiff. All right, I'm going to do an update on Julian Assange. I'll see you in a minute. Bye.